Early on, it seemed like you guys weren't able to pass out of the double teams and take advantage of that attention in the way that you usually were. What were you seeing there, and what changed towards the end of the game when those guys were able to make some clutch shots?
I think we got a little stagnant. Didn't move it as quickly and keep it simple. Move it. Let the other guys be recipients. So just get rid of the ball off the double, not try to make a home run pass. And what we've done all year is get it out and get wide open looks. We held on to it a little bit too long. Caused some turnovers. The credit to them. They were physical on defense, taking away a lot of our catches, pushing us out on the post and elbows. It was a gutsy win on our part. We had to dig back in. It was ugly at times, but came down to the clutch with some crucial plays.
Since you have so many young guys, do you like that they're having to learn to win ugly, close games like this?
Yeah, I mean, younger, old, newer group together. I think that game's going to help build some character and put us in certain situations that we haven't been in as a group. So it's not just the young guys, Kevin with those guys, and everybody else that came in and contributed. And so, like I said to them, it was nasty a lot of the game, especially the first quarter. Felt like our effort, and we picked up our intensity the last three quarters and overtime, but got it back to 2-point game, back to 9, and kept having to grind back. And good situational things to work on at the end of the game, and we executed well in those situations.
Coach, it's been a few years since you and Kevin were in Brooklyn, but as far as being a leader, are you seeing anything different with how he's approached his teammates in these tough situations?
Yeah, it is a different situation for him overall. I think, being with a younger team, he has to be more vocal at times and, more demanding at times. And, I said the same thing about Jeff Green. He's in a different role here with a much younger team the last 3 years, and he's more vocal and much different than when he was in Brooklyn. And same with Kevin. You got James Harden and Kyrie and a lot of vets around you. You don't have to speak up or do certain things as much, but being here first time with this group, it's a different type of leadership, just not just showing it every day. It's more teaching and putting your arm around guys. And so it's a different type, and you've seen that from him.
Can you just talk about how much it helps to have Kevin, all those things you just said, but to know that you're just never really out of it with somebody who's comfortable in those situations and being so clutch? Yeah,
I mean, they were doing some different things, throwing bodies at him, switching some matchups, and for the most part, they didn't double as much. Some, high hedges in the pick and roll, but if he gets a matchup that he likes, big or small, he's going to get a quality look off. And so, they wanted to guard one-on-one, and we trust him at all times, getting to the spots that he likes and, taking and making those shots. And so luxury to have that when it's not going as smooth as it has been. A guy you can kind of hand the ball to, and he can get the shots he wants. And, maybe had guys that were off in some sorts tonight and, still had really good numbers overall. But on a natural night, a normal night, we'll, make some of those shots, get some of those offensive rebounds. But it's good to have him as an outlet when it's going a little rough.
To that point, I know it hasn't always been that way since you've been here in Houston, but what is it like as a coach when late down the stretch you have multiple guys that you trust that you can draw up plays for?
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's not just dependent on Kevin. It's Alperen, and Jabari hit a big three after having a rough shooting night. Our men still getting downhill and finishing late in the game, and Reed stepping up, and Reed and Aaron were great off the bench to keep us in the game when we had the 14-point deficit. And so multiple guys we can go to. You can't just key on one guy, and Alpi gets a game-tying shot. Kevin gets one as well, and so just good growth overall from the young guys.
You mentioned this a second ago that you guys got to 2 multiple times in the game and never could get over the hump. What changed in the fourth quarter from your view that allowed you to kind of catch up and finally get ahead and at least set the stage to get into overtime?
Yeah, it was both sides. It was we finally got some stops. It felt like every time we did get a stop, they had an offensive rebound, kick out for threes. So we finally got some rebounds, got out and ran, and then converted some shots, just frankly, that simple. Some of the ones we were missing earlier, some of the offensive rebound putbacks and things of that nature that we were dropping those balls, we converted those later in the game. And so a combination of both ends.
They started to set more and more action, it seemed like, at Kevin late in the fourth quarter, and then you guys kind of went to Alperen time and again. Is that kind of a directive from you if there's more and more pressure on Kevin to use Alperen as that go-to guy?
No, not always. I think we like to invite that pressure at times because we can get the numbers behind it. We didn't convert as well as we had in the past to some of their traps, but knowing we can go to Alpi and some of their guys were in foul trouble, and we knew he'd get it going and get some quality shots. Crazy numbers. 30, 13, and 8 on 31 shots, but he'd get it going eventually in the fourth quarter, and he did that, obviously with the last shot as well.
And what do you think changed for him on his shooting or just on his scoring tonight after that first half?
It's not going to be perfect every night. You're not going to make some of the ones you do and not normally do. I think, like I said, a lot of balls were being tipped and batted around that we would usually had. And so from that standpoint, you just got to stick with it. Rough shooting night for guys. Jabari hits a big three, and then Alperen comes through in the clutch. And so when you're dependent on guys to do that and that's their role, you just got to stay confident, stick with it, and know the worm is going to turn.
Do you find that you have to say something to Alpy and late in these close games, or is that kind of something that he finds within himself to find that extra gear?
No, I don't really have to say much. I would say more early on in the game, whatever's defensive, offensively, whatever we see to help him out if we're seeing some things he's missing. But he takes that challenge and wants that, late in game. And so obviously going to him for the game-tying shot, he was aggressive, got the duck in, deep seal, and finished that shot. And he missed some of those easy ones all night. And so confident that he's going to make those in clutch time, and he has a favorable matchup regardless who's guarding him every night.